Coming up, everybody, here we go. Round number 6. Take it away.
I swear we're all professionals here. I can't keep a straight face with Maria, honestly. Oh, she's just too great.
It's not fair we have to go right to us. It's just far too funny at the desk. Like, cut it out, you three.
Yeah, stop making us laugh. Anyway, yes, serious faces. This is a big, important competition. We're sending people to the World Championship. And right now, we are looking at 2 players who are in very good shape to do just that. Simon Nielsen and David Inglis are both undefeated at 5-0, but one of their undefeated streaks is going to end right now. Corey, who do you like in this matchup?
Yeah, you know, the food decks, like Cedric was saying, very good at dealing with other creature decks. I would tend to agree. Meat Hook Massacre is just so incredibly powerful against them. I think the thing that we're really going to need from Simon Nielsen and his Selesnya human strategy is Skyclave Apparitions and hitting on collected companies. I think that's going to be the key to staying in this match.
Please no whiffs is what he'll be telling his collected company, as we do see a copy of it in hand there. We'll just have to get to the 4 lands to be able to yoink that out. But Esper Sentinel, turn 1. Excellent start indeed for Simon Nielsen, as David Inglis is just going to kick things off here with a Colony Garden, enter step, but it does make a little dumb dude. Unless we're doing Blooming Marsh into Kitty Cat. Yeah.
Yeah, and Esper Sentinel, a card that we have been seeing all day in Historic be so great against these blue opt, you know, Is It Phoenix style decks. It's still pretty good against food. There is a lot of non-creature stuff that you want to be casting in a timely fashion, so putting attacks on Witch's Oven, putting attacks on Fatal Push, and Meat Hook Massacre, Trail of Crumbs, I could keep going, is still a big deal. So it's still something that David is going to have to deal with.
Oh, for sure. So the draw step here, Darkboar Pathway, so that is land number 3 here for David Inglis, who does not like this Esper Sentinel, and I cannot blame him. So Fatal Push is going to be the way to kick things off this turn. Esper Sentinel will get that card, no possible way to pay. And there's a Dauntless Bodyguard off the top of the library. And now, Cat Oven combo, go.
Yeah, you almost feel better when you get that second counter on Esper Sentinel to Fatal Push. You're like, I'm so far away from actually paying for this tax that it doesn't bother me as much.
Yeah, it's just like, you're going to get cards. What am I going to do? I'll just kill your stuff. You know, like Cedric mentioned, like you said, there's a lot of removal in David Inglis's list, and it is very good against creature strategies. So
yes,
Simon Nielsen is going to have to find a way to navigate around this, but, you know, he's looking chipper as always, rocking out to his playlist. I did get it on Twitter, I'll have you know, and it's quite good. Lots of Prince,
share
lots
with me
of
later.
U2, got some Mika on there. Yeah, it's banging. I like it.
Yeah, and especially with Cauldron Familiar and Oven already down, you just have to assume that Simon has to go really wide on that strategy. And now when Ravenous Squirrel is coming and make that 2 Ravenous Squirrels is in play, and Cat Oven can, you know, sack the food, bring Cauldron back, sack the cat to get the food, sack the food to bring it back. All of a sudden, these are 4/4 squirrels already. So at this point, Simon's already on the defensive, which is not where you want to be with this Selesnya Humans deck, basically ever.
Oh, heck no. And the one thing I love about Golgari food, like, this is probably my favorite deck in Historic, and I'm not ashamed to say it. I love Cat Oven. I like clicking things. I like pinging the living daylights out of my opponents.
Fair.
You know, it doesn't need to do much more once it's got its engine going, right? If you've got a Trail of Crumbs down, you got your cat, you got your oven, you don't really have to do much else. And eventually, it's just this war of attrition that Golgari food is going to win.
Yeah, totally agree. So if this is your favorite deck, how do you love the food mirrors?
I like those a little less.
Yeah.
But so long as you know how to do Cat Oven properly, you're good. I also like to stick a pokey stick in there. That what's that artifact now? I've forgotten what it's called. That gives the Ravenous Squirrels trample. Yeah.
Oh, a smart, Shadow Sphere, huh?
That's
you go.
The one.
That's smart tech.
The trample pokey stick, yes. I bring those in for the
That was the test name of that card for sure, yeah.
Exactly. I'd be good at naming cards. But anyway, the board has progressed, and here comes a Meat Hook Massacre, as we are likely going to take care of all the smallest creatures on the battlefield here. So just for one, Esper Sentinel's going to trigger, going to get another card, hopefully land number 4 here for Simon Nielsen.
Yeah, you saw Simon crossing his fingers here, hoping for exactly not this. Meat Hook Massacre here being a nice, clean 3 for 1. I guess you lose a plant, so maybe you can count that a 3.5 for 1. But overall, a really strong play here, and these squirrels are going to get out of hand.
Oh, yes. Very chunky squirrels. The plant gets sacrificed. The cat can come back. And a whole bunch of things are gonna die. Goodbye, Catilda. Goodbye, Dauntless Bodyguard. Just 2 creatures left on the board. And these squirrels can, at instant speed, become 4/4s and trade with us Lieutenant. If David wants to go that route, so let's see if we see an attack here. Yep. Not too scared about it. And the nice thing is, Corey, is we can actually sacrifice both food while the cat triggers on the stack.
You beat me to it. That's what I was going to add, but dang it, you're too next level with this Golgari food deck. I was going to say the same thing. You can even get it out of range by doing that. David also, you can tell, has obviously played this deck quite a bit. Playing that Meat Hook Massacre, waiting for it to come into play, and then sacking that plant to get that extra drain is a next level play as well.
Heck yeah. So Giant Killer does have a target here, Ravenous Squirrel. Getting nice and chunky. Meat Hook Massacre, though, gonna keep the dings going as we are now down to 10 for Simon Nielsen and David Inglis sitting on a healthy 21.
Yeah, and there we go. Simon just respecting the attack back with the Ravenous Squirrel so much that left back 2 creatures. And I mean, to be fair, you're either attacking with both or you're leaving both back, since you can bring back Cauldron Familiar and then block and then bring it back again. But now we see the extra mode of Ravenous Squirrel coming into play that you don't see as often, but it still makes this card even better than it is on surface value.
Yeah, it's just a great addition to this deck, being able to sacrifice, creatures that aren't really doing anything, Cauldron Familiar, the little plant tokens, anything to that effect, just to be able to get extra cards, extra triggers, extra Meat Hook Massacre pings. It's just so good.
It really is. Whenever you have nothing to do, you always have that option to use Ravenous Squirrel or bring back Luris. But here, a big Skyclave. This was definitely needed for Ravenous Squirrels. And the card, I think, is probably the most important, at least for game 1, from Simon's side.
For sure. In response, we'll see the sacrifice there. So 2 more food tokens because the Ravenous Squirrel was over 4 power and toughness. So nice way to get some extra value there out of the oven. It's a little bit too ham at the grocery shop, so got some more food out of it. Fatal Push is a nice find as well.
Yeah, Fatal Push being able to clean up Thalia's Lieutenant or Skyclave. We did see the oven getting rid of that squirrel, so it's not like you can get a 1/1 illusion out of it, but still an option for this removal spell.
It's a kamikaze cat. It's just like, yeah, I know I'm going to die, but that's fine. Fatal Push is active now. We got the Revolts on, so depends what David Inglis wants to use it for, if he's just happy cycling this cat a couple times.
Yeah, and is this just looking over? Maybe not quite yet.
Not just yet. He's got like 2 more pings to go.
No, I guess, yeah, it is. Yeah, you kill your own.
Kill the
That's lose a life and then bring it back.
Oh, man. It's so cheeky. I love it.
It really is. Yeah, that looked pretty easy so far for David. And it almost gets a little easier. You get some culling rituals as ways to control some of the cheaper creatures from Selesnya humans if David wants to go that route. And, I mean, from Simon's side, you do have actually quite a lot of removal that's going to be helpful. You have portable holes to clean up Trail, Cat, Oven, whatever the battlefield calls for. Outland Liberator, if that flips, being able to attack and just destroy anything is huge. Another Skyclave and Brutal Cathar. So that is a lot of ways to interact with a lot of different tricky to deal with permanents here from Simon's side. So it probably does get a little bit better for Simon.
Yeah, I'd imagine so. But on the other side of things, it's not looking like there's all too much that David Inglis needs to change for this matchup. He just kind of carries on doing what he's doing, maybe brings in a couple of removal spells, takes out the redundant stuff like Soul Guide Lantern. But for the most part, his deck is just tuned to the T.
Yeah, I was interested to see if Culling Ritual would even come in, but, there's a lot of 3-drops, there's a lot of 4-drops, and those are the important ones. So decides not to bring it in. Maybe, I guess we are on the draw. So yeah, this Culling Rituals probably only come in for the Mirror Match or Affinity. Yeah, Simon's really throwing me out there. That's some good dancing.
He's loving it. He's loving it. Any lip readers in chat? Tell me what he's singing. I need to know.
Well, you got his
I seem to think
playlist.
it's
Maybe
Britney
you'll be able
Spears.
to. Maybe you'll be able to check it out.
Yeah, I don't know if I can do that work right now, but someone in chat knows how to read lips, I'm sure. Oh, goodness me. I love seeing players enjoying their tournament, and things are going smashingly right now for Simon Nielsen. He is on the back foot, though, as David Inglis is up 1-0 in round 6 of our tournament today. This is historic if you're just joining us, so plenty of cats, plenty of ovens, plenty of Phoenix thingamajiggies in graveyards doing stuff and things that they like to do. So, yeah, just sit back, relax, and enjoy watching as we get closer and closer to finding out who is going to join the World Championship.
Absolutely. And speaking of the World Championship, both these players are in the race for it, and they are both in their kind of separate league. You know, you have Simon, which is in second place in the Challengers, and then you have David also in second place in the league players. So that is a lot tougher for David. David really does, you know, first has to make day 2, easy, check that off the list. Now has to continue to perform since that race is so close. Simon, we kind of are trusting the math on Simon on this. Simon thinks that he's already in. You know, of course, that is not a foolproof thing yet, but by the dancing, I think that's also saying, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure any nerves he had at the beginning of the day, you know, they've taken a backseat now. He's just having fun. He's doing his thing. He knows he's in for day 2, but, you know, there is some statistical anomaly that results in him not making it, but I think he's pretty confident right now, so...
Yeah, it's easy to be dancing when you're 5-0, but honestly, Simon was dancing when he was 1-0 as well, so, you know.
True. So the secret to winning Magic, dance. Okay, I'm going to try that at my next tournament.
All right, a nice draw here from Simon, being able to Skyclave here on turn 3, and then followed up for sure with Inquisitor Captain, hit another creature for sure, and then double Thalia's Lieutenant after this is huge, especially when David is doing a pretty weak turn so far of just Cat Oven. Simon's going to be able to go over the top of this, and David's going to need a little bit of help here.
Yep, not finding land number 3. He still does have action in hand. This deck has a very low curve, courtesy of the restrictions that Lurrus of the Dream Den puts on him. But why? Hello, Adeline Resplendent Cathar. Let's freaking go.
Yeah, absolutely. That's impressive. And this Golgari food deck is one of the decks that, like, the only box you really need to be checking is to always hit your land drops. If you're always hitting your land drops, you know, you have so much value and you're so good at using up all your mana, whether it be with Lurrus, whether it be the ability on Ravenous Squirrel, Trail of Crumbs, what have you. But if you don't have that land, that is a true way that you can really lose these games. It might even be the reason why we see maybe Cauldron Familiar come back and Deadly Dispute get cast just out of, you know, kind of desperation at this stage of the game.
I don't think in either of these games we've seen a Trail of Crumbs at least once. I know they're in the main deck, but you wouldn't think so with how these 2 games have gone thus far.
Yeah, some really crummy draws so far here from David here.
Get out.
Thank you. We had a good run. Yeah.
So interesting decisions to be made here. There is Deadly Dispute, which can draw a card, or can find you a couple of cards, hopefully find some lands, you know, but we're just going to get some creatures down on the board here, Cursebound Witch and Ravenous Squirrel, just to shore up the defenses here a teeny tiny bit. There's also the cat that can jump out and do its attack and get in the way of one of these big chonkers like, oh, you know, an Adeline Resplendent Cathar, who's also going to get even bigger now, courtesy of Tali's Lieutenant. So you like counters? Here, let's put double counters on things.
And remember, when Adeline comes in, which I have a feeling it's going to be attacking her, when any creature attacks, rather, you're going to get another human. That's going to trigger the Thalia's Lieutenant again. And really the main thing you want to be doing from the human side here is to make sure your creatures have a higher toughness than Meat Hook Massacre is possible for the next turn. And since Meat Hook Massacre is really only possible for 1 next turn, I think we've checked that box here from Simon's Battlefield.
Yeah, so Skyclave Apparition is just going to hang back for the time being, as well as the 3/3, so not going balls to the wall just yet. So Adeline, Resplendent Cathar, and Inquisitor Captain getting on in there. And there are 2 decent blockers for David to just chump block with.
Yeah, that's interesting to me, because it looks like the Squirrel can... I guess the Squirrel can get up to a 4/4, so yeah, leaving those 3/3s back, it's not a free block for the Squirrel there, so that does make sense.
Oh man, I'm not even thinking about that. I'm like, oh, there's massive things flying at my face. Let's block those. I'm not even thinking about killing the 3/3, but yeah.
Yeah, well,
David
you got to
Inglis,
start somewhere.
well
Got
aware.
to start somewhere.
Uh,
Because you're not killing the 9/6, I'll tell you that. That's where Cauldron Familiar is going for sure.
yeah. Now, how much damage does he take here? Okay, so it looks like we're going to take at least 5 because there are 2 copies of Bone Shards which can kill the bigger creatures here. So that's at least a bit of a reprieve for David Inglis in the next turn.
And it is impressive, like, how big of a battlefield Simon's battlefield is, and like how much David has, you know, a smaller battlefield, but still at 17. The cat oven value that it generates and that life that it gains, you know, at these early stages of the game, Cauldron Familiar, the only text that really matters is the gain life. You know, sure, losing a life is great, but you're really just trying to stay alive until food just completely turns the corner, which wouldn't be for, you know, 8, 9 turns if all things went David's way.
Yeah, so a bit of an unfortunate draw here in Trail of Crumbs, as he won't be able to pay the 1 to look at the top cards of the library with the Cauldron Familiar jumping out of the graveyard. So let's see how he navigates here. Like I mentioned, there are the 2 copies of Bone Shards, but he's going to go towards the Deadly Dispute right now, sacrifice the Curse-Bound Witch, get some cards, make a treasure token, importantly, as well, so that also helps the squirrel, and also get to draft a card out of the Witch's spellbook.
Yeah, exactly. Like, draft a card, figure something out. Hits Witch's Oven, which is actually one of the better cards that you get from the spellbook when you're playing this deck. You know, there's some cards that are not so great for you. I'll say that out of the 15. But to get one that's in your deck is pretty good.
There's a Fatal Push. You know, that it's something that stops Adeline.
Yep.
Still looking kind of not great here for David, though. Needs some lands to do some things.
Yep, at least Ravenous Squirrel here.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Collected Company off the top.
Now it's an interesting choice. Go for Collected Company or the Inquisitor's Captain. That's like always a Collected Company. You saw a nod from Simon? That means 2 creatures.
Oh, no. Well, he's not whiffing on Collected Companies, that's for sure.
Yeah, honestly,
goodness me.
That is the main thing you want to be hoping for from this deck, is if your Collected Companies are nice, you're probably going to have a pretty good day. And that's looking to be the case so far for Simon.
Oh yeah, we've seen Collected Company be absolutely cruel to its wielders, but not today. Simon Nielsen had a good chat with it this morning. Collected Company knows what it's got to do, and here comes the cavalry. Kitty, help.
I'm real good at adjusting the bottom 6 cards of my library with Collected Company. Let me tell you, it's one of my specialties on my career resume, if you will.
Oh no, that's so much damage. From 18 down to 4. Yeah, we're gonna go to game number 3 here very shortly, Corey.
Yep, I think this one's all wrapped up. But, you know, for David fans, being on the play with Golgari food, you gotta still very much favor David here, even though this game, you know, looked very telling in favor of Simon.
Oh, yeah, next game is going to be a different story if the lands behave. So let's see what the top of the deck wields here for David Inglis.
Let's see if Simon sacrifices Ranger Captain at upkeep, which would be all cards in David's hand that he would not be able to cast. There it is.
Yep, sure, why not? So you can do nothing this turn, thank you.
Okay.
Oh, fatal. Hang on.
That is something we can
Is that
cast.
enough life?
You can kill the 6/6. You block the 5/5. Sacrifice it. Bring it back. 4, 7, 11, 12. No, not even close. Not even close.
Not even close. All right. Worth a look. You know, always believe in the cats. They have 9 lives for a reason.
Yeah, and a little unfortunate there. I mean, David did keep a 1-lander and drew that second land, that Castle Locked one, right away to kind of give some hope. Like, okay, yeah, this is going to be all good. Then never found another land over the course of, 7 or 8 draws. And that's not it.
Yeah, so a little bit rough there. Unfortunate for David Inglis. But, that might just be the kind of luck, I guess, that Simon Nielsen needs against this Golgari food deck, which in my mind, and I think a lot of people's minds is the superior deck. It's one of the strongest in Historic for a reason. It's just so consistent. But yeah, that last round, kind of giving itself a bad name there.
Yeah, when Simon was talking about how during his winter interview, either a round or two ago, that Selesnya Humans was a big targeted deck for a while, and then people kind of forgot about it. When it was that big deck, Golgari Food was not really a deck. It was really just preying on Izzet Phoenix, and Golgari Food was kind of the up-and-comer, not played by many people, and then after it completely dominated a set championship, then it became pretty popular and became on everybody's radar.
Yeah, then we would see all the cages coming in, preventing cards coming out of libraries, yada, yada, yada.
Or the blue-white control decks. Yeah, or the blue-white control decks that the superstar Japanese team kind of stopped that deck from dominating for the last set championship. A lot less of that. I believe it was 15% less from our last set championship to this one. So it's able to have a lot better of a tournament this time around.
Yeah. Turn 1 Thoughtseize gets rid of that a nuisance in the Esper Sentinel, so no extra cards for Simon Nielsen this time around, at least not via that one. As things should be starting off a little bit better here for David Inglis. Has land number 3, has a squirrel on the board, and has a fatal push for any early creatures that may come down. And we have seen that there is a Talia's Lieutenant rocking out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And people looking at what constitutes a good draw from these black-green food decks. And you do really got to have at least a couple of the pieces. You got to have a trail of crumbs, a cat, an oven. You kind of want to have one of each of them. If you have too many Ravenous Squirrels or too many Cauldron Familiars without the other pieces, the deck doesn't look as powerful. And this this is the kind of draw we're looking at now. So we might even see an attack. Play this Ravenous Squirrel, sacrifice that one immediately just to try to find some other pieces, even though Ravenous Squirrel isn't exactly the 1-mana 1/1 that you want to be throwing to the graveyard. You'd much rather be throwing a Cauldron Familiar there to bring it back later.
Yeah, or the Colony Gardens, a little plant token. But
yeah,
one thing I do like about the sequence is that there is a treasure on the battlefield now, so we can pay the black using that treasure, and that activates the Revolt on Fatal Push to get rid of this Ranger Captain of Eos. So not too bad.
Yeah, be interesting if David wants to fire that off. That is an option that David can kind of do at any point, so no reason to fire that off on end step. And now, with only one Ravenous Squirrel in the graveyard, maybe we see Lurrus get picked up to the hand since there's not much else to do, and then play maybe a Gilded Goose as well. Also have that Fatal Push an option, and then just kind of knock the top of the deck and be like, okay, Trail of Crumbs, where are you at? This is where I want you when you have a Goose that is ready to just activate right away.
Definitely. So Gilded Goose and Trail of Crumbs, the two best buds in the archetype. So Goose is going to get loose right now. Let's cause problems on purpose. And hope that the top of the library plays nice here for David Inglis. Does have the option too to sacrifice with a squirrel to draw a card?
Yeah, it's a tempting option. Getting that Lurrus back into hand just has such a high upside against these Selesnya human deck because, well, you really put a pressure on, do you have Skyclave? Do you have Brutal Cathar? If not, Lurrus being able to bring something back every turn can be really huge. Something like block with Gilded Goose, sacrifice it to Ravenous Squirrel, and then just replay it next turn. Something like that, even if you have a bad draw, that ends up being a really powerful avenue where you'll eventually find Trail of Crumbs and you keep that loop going.
Yeah. So 3 points of damage coming in here. David Inglis won't be too fussed about going down to 13. So I don't think we'll see a block or a Fatal Push just yet because he's setting up nicely here.
Yeah, you could block and sacrifice the treasure and get Ravenous Squirrel up to a 3/3, and then that mana just goes away because you don't have another target. If, let's say, Simon played, this wouldn't be the most correct play, but played this pre-combat, and then you're able to Ravenous Squirrel block, sack, and Fatal Push to deal with both of them, that's a little more tempting.
Oh, yeah. Ooh, all right, now we're cooking. Hey, see David Inglis sit up in his chair there, and for good reason. Trail of Crumbs is the glue that keeps Golgari food together. Don't put glue in your food, please. Please do not consume glue either. Let me just put that little caveat there, friends. But now we have choices. Where do we go from here?
Good safety warning there for sure.
Thank you.
I think it really starts with Trail. and probably holding up a Fatal Push here, but wow, okay, immediately as I say that, proven wrong. Looking to go for Luris, get Ravenous Squirrel back, and then sacrifice that treasure for Fatal Push to get max value on the squirrels. I like that as well. I like that as well. You could also play Trail here if you want, but you'd have to use up a lot of your material.
Yeah, there is that option, but I think at this point David is quite comfortable with, how the board is looking. Sure, there's two big old 3/3s hanging out there, but I don't think Simon has drawn land number 4 yet. So, okay, there it is, but
Just
it is
Crossroads.
I think it
don't
untaps
think so.
here.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah, it does because he was on the draw.
Gotcha.
Cocoa time? Anyone? Shall we?
Yep. Coco or Inquisitor Captain. I feel like if you're really behind, it's time for company to try to hit like 2 Skyclave apparitions. And if you're kind of ahead, you push your advantage with Inquisitor Captain. Oh no, that looks like I just missed.
Did you
kind
whiff?
of face. I don't
Did
read
you not
lips,
talk to
but
this
I read
copy of
reactions.
Collected Company?
Yeah.
No, Simon.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, that's brutal.
Yeah.
Well, it would have been brutal if there was a Cathar with the freaking Collected Company, but le whiff, unfortunately, for Simon Nielsen. So he's just going to pass the turn back and cross his fingers and hope that, I don't know, David Inglis runs out of stuff to do. But Corey, we see that is not going to happen.
Yeah, that was definitely the turn of reprieve that David needed very badly, and especially with Simon missing land. David knows that there is 5 spells in hand. Well, you can see 3 of them, so that was pretty clear, but that leads you to believe, obviously, hindsight's 2020. Do you play Inquisitor's Captain during those scenarios to avoid the worst case scenario? But the more Inquisitor Captains, I guess, you play, the less odds that you're going to hit with Collected Company. So it's tough, It's all kind of random in the sense that, it's unlucky to miss with Collected Company.
Yeah, for sure. So I like the sequencing here from David, because if he wants to Fatal Push one of these captains in response, they're just going to be like, no things for you. But if we go with the oven first, Fatal Push gets to be cast, so...
Yep, and
That's
now
nice.
what we're really missing from David's battlefield to kind of, put this at a situation where it's almost going to be very, very tough to lose is a Cauldron Familiar. You get Cauldron Familiar with Trail, all of a sudden you're drawing 3, maybe 4 cards a turn, and it becomes insane.
And these squirrels just get chunkier and chunkier. They keep adding C's onto the back of the thick.
Fair. And even now, with the Ravenous Squirrels getting big, you're able to sack Gilded Goose here. Normally, you don't want to give away such a prized possession here, but with Luris not being activated yet, it's free. You get that kind of free, unless you really need to be sacking a food to gain some life, or you really need that mana for something else. Both of those scenarios, not the case here for David.
Oh, yeah, no, he's sitting pretty. These Ranger Captains are like, yeah, nope, I am not getting in the way of you at all. Totally fine. I'll just take some damage here. And, yeah, let's see what happens.
Crunch.
Down to 11. Crunch indeed. Oh,
and now
this is looking so good.
Oh, yeah. Now, we do have that giant killer to deal with one of the squirrels, but that's really not going to prevent all the problems right now. And the one thing that the Selesnya Humans deck does not do well, and that's defense. And it's time for defense, unfortunately, for Simon Nielsen fans.
Alrighty. Inquisitor Captain finds another Ranger Captain of Eos, which is pretty nifty. Can go find another 1-drop. Only the 1 copy, I believe, though, of the Giant Killer, so it's going to be another Esper Sentinel brought to hand. And, I mean, that's a lot of gas in hand. Where were these cards when Collected Company was fired off?
Yep.
There's the cat.
There's the kitty.
As impressive as that hand is, there's the kitty cat.
Yeah, I think that Inquisitor Captain had to hit Skyclave right there for this game to be a game anymore. And at this point, these Ravenous Squirrels are having to be chump blocked. Each of these Gilded Goose represents 2 counters. So that's 4 counters there. The Cauldron Familiar, you can play it, sacrifice it, and then sacrifice all the food on the stack. So, it's not crazy to assume that both of these Ravenous Squirrels could get up to 11 power, where they both have to be blocked, and then you're kind of in the abyss for any old school Magic players that remember that card. Just signaling that you have to block and you have to sacrifice a creature each turn because of these Ravenous Squirrels being so large.
Oh my goodness. I mean, Simon Nielsen doesn't seem too fussed at all. He's just happily jamming along here. So it does look, as it stands right now, that David Inglis is going to continue his undefeated run, 6-0, but still Simon Nielsen at a very respectable 5-1. Once this wraps up, it's all a matter of time right now, unless something. I don't know. I don't know what Simon Nielsen could find that gets him out of this pickle, but with 2 cats now.
Yeah, I mean, I think step 1 is collect a company off the top from Simon into double Skyclave to deal with Ravenous Squirrels.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what it has to be to even play, because if you get rid of those, the clock, you know, in air quotes is gone. The cat oven is still the clock that is everlasting. But the immediate Ravenous Squirrel is going to kill you in 2 turns type clock, it would be over.
Yeah. Now, I guess Simon does have 3 non-creature spells for you cards in the Ranger Captain of Eos, so...
Simon's taking it. He says, no
He's
problem.
taking it, yeah. He's like, nah, I'm gonna save my thanks for the next one, because this game's just over, so... Very convincing victory there for David Inglis.